Alright, welcome back to another video. I'm in the truck here, which means that the truck is, of course, drum roll please, broken again. Double broken, I should say. It's broken twice in like the last 2 weeks. I'm not super thrilled considering I did the injectors less than 2 months ago. Both of these new issues seemingly have nothing to do with the injector job, so I just want to get that out of the way. All my diagnostic tools and basically all my tools are at the shop 2 hours away. And it's pretty unreasonable for me to go to the shop anytime during the week, so I have to wait till the weekend. That said, this issue came up like leaving the shop on Sunday, didn't have time, and then I just made an educated guess and ordered what I think it will be. And if it is not those things, oh well, I'll send that kind of stuff back, but I can't really do any formal diagnosis until I get to the shop. The only thing I've gotten so far, hopefully this is focusing kind of. You can see our fuel pressure is fluctuating quite a bit, and that would explain the surging that the truck is having, and it is surging pretty bad. The truck also has a check engine light for glow plug circuit. That one is pretty easy to diagnose, but again, no tools, so I just ordered a set of 8 𝙤𝙠𝙚 glow plugs. They are cheap enough, and I don't know when they've been done last, so I figure why not. Yeah, we have a fault somewhere. It's either the relay, the module itself, the wiring, or the glow plugs. There's not that many things, and again, that one's kind of easy to figure out once I have a multimeter. So, and there's the scanner that I have is pretty dumb. I can't command anything to happen, so even if I did have a multimeter, I'd have to wait till the truck was like cold and it needed the glow plugs. Anyways, I'm gonna stop and shut up and get to the shop because we have a ton of work to do. All right, welcome back. I seriously hate working on this truck, and it never seems to stop or go away. This is a turbo mouthpiece off the Duramax. Granted, it is stock. There are aftermarket options that make it a little bit easier to get to these bolts. This took forever. I'm just having a great time. So I'm gonna show you what I'm doing. I'll show you where I'm at, and then I'll pick up the camera whenever I get farther than this. But this, believe me, took way longer than it should have. As you can see, we have the intercooler piping. We got the turbo. Cool part, I guess, the good thing, is that we don't have any shaft play. And the turbo looks good. It's actually not even that dirty, all things considered. But this mouthpiece sits like so. Blah blah blah, you get the point. This one, or on this side, is almost impossible to get out. I took this, I believe this is just like, all this hosing is for like a CCV setup, so that's what this was. It sits on this horn right here that then sits right there. Move this guy out of the way. It's like really tight right there. It's probably not good. This guy actually normally goes under the turbo coolant feed line or whatever. So this guy, I snuck that out of the way, kind of. Again, this is a CCV kind of thing. And now we have a fuel pressure regulator. Still way buried. Only thing I can see so far is the connector. So I'm going to hopefully get this out. It's 3 Torx. And we'll go from there, and I'll show you the old one side by side, blah, blah, blah. We'll put it back in. All right, well, haven't got too far, but I'm gonna show you. Hopefully you can see this. I'm gonna try my best here. As you can see, there is a 1/4 inch ratchet with a 2-inch extension with a T25. I have that. These are like the swivel extensions. That's all I had, so I just put some electrical tape on it to tighten it up a little bit so I could actually get to those Torx on the back. My God, is this a tight fit and a shit job. I did take the compressor off. You don't need to do that. I just was kind of pulling for straws and was thinking that that would help me out once I got here, but it didn't, so don't worry about doing that. Now I'll have to put the belt back on later. I started this job at like 1:30. It's now almost 6 o'clock. So pretty long time to not even have this stupid thing out. I didn't know it was gonna be this difficult. I kind of looked it up and I was like, looks like it's pretty accessible once you get a few things out of the way. first of all, the turbo horn, absolute pain in the ass. And then actually getting to the Torx, the T25s that bolt this regulator into the CP3 is just a grand old time. So I don't really have specific recommendations or suggestions tool-wise. You're just gonna have to do whatever works for you, but you're definitely gonna be working with 1/4 inch. The only thing that I was thinking of and then realized I could not do because I don't have all my miscellaneous sized standard wrenches like I do at my house, I was gonna take a T25 screwdriver bit and put like a box end, whatever box end fits over that, and do that. And I think that that probably would have worked better because there's no travel for a ratchet in here anyway, so it doesn't really matter if you have a ratchet. The clearances are just fucked. And actually, one more thing. I would say that it is necessary to bend this line. You can see it's bent. And if you're complaining about that, you have a problem with that. I don't know, good luck doing it any other way. But that is all the clearance that I had to make basically to get these spinning. So I have the top two basically out. I just need to find the bottom one and get to that. I've been in this engine bay for like 5 hours. I'm not proud of it because at the end of 5 hours, I would have hoped that at least the pressure regulator would have been done. But you can see in my hand here, I'm holding the pressure regulator. And let me just say, I don't know why everybody's stressed out about the injectors on these trucks when this is what you should be worried about. This is a fucking pain in the ass. All right, here's the old one. We'll open up the new one here and make sure it's the same part. That one came with new hardware. New guy, new O-ring, comes with that little cap on it. Alright, another lighting shit, but it's another day. I'm well on my way to putting the fuel pressure regulator in. I'm gonna show you what's been working for me. This is the third one, the one on the bottom. I'm using a little bit of silicone grease to keep this T25 on here. We'll see how it does. I've been using electrical tape, like one thin little line of electrical tape to hold the T25 to the Torx, but what's been happening the tape gets stuck on the Torx and I have to fish it out. And because this one's going underneath, this is like the completely blind one, I don't want to put tape down there because then I won't be able to get it back out. And then I have been, in fact, using my ratcheting impact, but I'm going to try and get this one in. I'll pick it up and show you what I did afterwards. Okay, so third and final Torx is in for this pressure regulator, but I just wanted to show you guys my vantage point because this is pretty blind, but there is actually one very small window that you can see the very bottom hole to line this up, because otherwise it's going to take a long time, and this definitely helps. So what I've been doing, again, using the grease, and actually you can ditch the electrical tape unless you have the swivel extensions like I do, because those are not helpful for this, but that's what I have. If you can see right here, you can see I'd never pulled the thermostat housing off, or the thermostat's out or anything, or drained the coolant or anything like that. You can see right there, there's a little glistening, a shining, if you will, and I will shine my light. It's not focusing where I want it to, but where I'm shining the light is exactly that final bolt on the bottom. And if you kind of get up in the truck bay, you can, if you kind of lean over far enough, like forward enough, you will be able to see the little bracket on the pressure regulator and where that hole is at. And so that's what I've been doing. That only took, I don't know, like 10 minutes to find the hole, and then the other ones were fairly straightforward. And from here on out, it's just order of operations reversed. However, I lost one of these nuts. I know it didn't fall in anything, but still, I would like to find it, and I've had no luck so far, so hopefully I find that. Otherwise, I'll have to find one, and I'm sure it'll make its way out of the truck at some point, but I hate doing that. That didn't happen the whole injector job, and then pop that little Y bridge or whatever the fuck that thing's called, and yeah, I lost one of them. But I'm gonna finish this. I'm going to use this. This has been working, but obviously I just get them started by hand, and then I'll just shove this thing down there, send them home, and we'll plug it back in. Okay, as you can see, the truck is reassembled. Kind of pissed that I pulled that serpentine belt off in the compressor, but this was kind of important to get access, or at least a viewpoint of those 3 torques. So I got all that in. The horn, pain in the ass, and I kind of stripped the bolt putting it back on, so hopefully that doesn't have to come back off. But there's literally no room unless you shave down like a box end. So what I was using is these Nip-X. These are like hose clamp pliers, but they actually have these little like teeth on the end, and it helped quite a bit, at least getting it rotated enough until I could finally put a wrench on it. Other than that, it's just reverse order everything. I was not able to locate that one nut, so hopefully that doesn't cause a problem. Not super stoked about that, but everything else, nothing else is missing. We're all good. I'm now moved on to the glow plugs. So we'll see how all this does. I may have to get a new connector because it was kind of brittle when I put it back on, and it's not like super on there. I tried my best, but we'll see how it does, and if we're not having any communication with the regulator, I'm likely positive I know what the problem is. Moved on to glow plugs, which isn't really that bad. Well, not bad at all. It was like a 20-minute job. I'm gonna say this after the fact when I'm all said and done with this. So it's just pop the fender liners off, and you have 4 glow plugs on either side. Bada boom, bada bang. Here's the passenger side. Then I have 8 new 𝙤𝙠𝙚 glow plugs. So I'm gonna throw these in the truck. I'm gonna start the truck, and hopefully our problems go away, but we know how that normally goes. All right, update. I have done the glow plugs. The passenger side is super easy, straightforward. The driver's side is not bad. There is some clearance issues with the driver's side intercooler pipe, which I had just removed from the top there. And then that way there's just enough room to sneak the glow plug out. And then there is one that runs right into the steering shaft, and you can make it work. I yanked on the steering shaft, and in result, got a puddle down here. Can't really see, but just believe me, it's there. Yep, like a puddle. And I was tripping on where that was coming from. And then I looked up, and it looks like the steering shaft. I don't know what that says, if there's a seal issue, clearly, but I don't know. I'm about ready to start this thing up. I'm super nervous. Just honestly, just as much as when I did the injectors, only because these are like guess diagnostics, which is never good. Should never do that. But here we are. So I'm gonna plug the scanner in, and we'll clear any codes that the truck does have, and then we'll fire it up. I'm pretty sure I got everything. Just doing a final skim here. Every time I work on this, the engine bay gets less pretty. Nice, yep. Just hopping into my luxury vehicle. We will scan it and then finally start this truck up. We'll see how this all goes here. Key in second position. Okay, we have no DTCs, so we're gonna start it up. Super fucking nervous. Oh, beautiful. You're really fucking kidding me. Okay. Well. Jesus. I'm gonna sit here with it for a second and see what it does. It seemed like it just, well, we lost fuel immediately. I don't know, I guess there was air in the system. What was weird was when I went to the primer and I started purging it, it like built up pressure, and then you could hear air escaping somewhere. I did it a second time and it didn't do that. So now I'm really sketched out because I'm like, I don't know what that was from. I can't really tell if the surge is fixed. It still seems to be surging a little bit. But I'm gonna pull up live data and see if we can't read what the pressure what the pressure is, and then I can compare it to what it was before. And we'll see how it is. Hopefully that start and die was a little fluke, kind of a one-time thing. We don't have a glow plug code anymore, so that's good. Hopefully that's at least one thing crossed off. Let's see if I can give it gas. It's getting fuel. Let me see. Let's look at fuel pressure. I don't know if that's within spec, but it's bouncing from 5600 to 5800 is basically the peak. So plus or minus 200 PSI, I'm not sure. Again, I'm so new to diesel, I don't know how regular that is. You can't hear it. We'll go to the back of the truck in a second and see if we can hear it. But before, you could definitely see the needle like bounce up and down, up and down. And it's not doing that now, and the fuel pressure is staying right between 57, 58. Okay, well, I think we actually have a leaky fuel filter head, which sucks. See if it drops more. I don't know if that, I should have checked. I want to move the truck and see if the puddle still exists, but it looks like the top of the filter, or the filler head is leaking. Man. About to head out. The rail pressure, according to Google, is correct. And as the truck is up to temp, it's right around 4,000 PSI. I'll have to double check. It might be plus or minus a little bit. But yeah, cold idle apparently is supposed to be right at 5,500. And then once it's warm, it should come down a little bit, and that's what the numbers look like. So for now, I'm gonna say it's a success. We will see. And it sucks living so far away because my first test drive is driving 2 hours home. So we'll see how it goes. But obviously I'll bring the camera. All right, it has been 2 weeks, and unfortunate news, surprise, surprise, I did not end up driving this home. I drove this about a mile to my girlfriend's house, and when I got to her house and I looked underneath the truck, so we got problems still. And I never made it home, so I ended up taking my drift car. Two things happened. One thing I believe was 100% self-inflicted, the other thing we'll talk about. But the first thing, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but this piece here, and you have this elbow, there are two nuts that secure this guy on the, I guess it's called a Y bridge, I'm not 100% sure. I was not able to find a clear answer, and I can't find anything on the internet that actually looks like this elbow that I have on my truck. Anyways, there's two bolts that secure these, and under boost, about like after 6 or 7 pounds of boost, you'd hear like a super faint whistle, and that is because that aforementioned bolt that I had been talking about, that one that I ended up dropping in the valley, looks like this. So I only had one, which was this one, securing it. And so I think a little bit of air was whistling through, and that's kind of where we got that weird high-pitched noise that I didn't get on camera. But under boost, it seemed to have a boost leak somewhere, and I believe that that was just not having another one of these. By this time, I was already at home, didn't have the truck nearby, did not have this nearby. So I bought one of these because I was tired of asking and getting wrong answers. So here it is, M10 by 12.5, metric of course. So I went to the hardware store this morning and got 2 new ones. They're on the truck now. Now for the part that I am kind of livid about, but I'm trying to look at the bright side here. So I noticed that we had a coolant leak. I've never had a coolant leak on this truck. And so I was frustrated, of course, parked the truck, whatever. And I started doing some investigating today, and you can just see where the coolant's been dripping down from. And it was actually pretty easy to spot. I'm like 99% certain at this point I know what it is. I was up here with brake cleaner, kind of just going over all these coolant lines and seeing, you know, everything was stained on this side of the engine bay. So I was trying to figure out where it was all coming from. The intercooler pipe down there was all stained with coolant. And lo and behold, I think I figured it out. So I dropped the fender liner just now, and actually you can see as I was under there wiggling, look at all that is what just dropped. And there was a dried spot there, so I definitely know that that's what that was from. And sure enough, if we look, oh, of course, yeah, you can see it. Can you see that little drop of coolant on this line? Oh, it just dropped. You see that? Yep. So that is where our leak is coming from. It's coming from this hard line. It looks like the weld is literally cracked. All right, welcome back. Another clip, another week has gone by. Sorry for the sporadic video. I promised to stop doing that, but this truck has just been a royal pain in the ass. But I have the part here. Cheapest one I could find. It is a �40 part, so it should be okay. I got it off Parts Geek. I've never ordered off Parts Geek, but it was the cheapest. Seems to be the right part. And so finally, hopefully, we will have this truck on the road without coolant leaking, and it should stop being such a pain in the ass. But we can only hope, right? I can't be too mad, but you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Truck's 20 years old. It's had hundreds, if not thousands, of heat cycles from hot to cold, and then on top of that, again, just its age, those parts are just bound to break. All right, I'm going to work on pulling all this off. I'm gonna try and get away with pulling off the least amount that I can, but I'm just gonna unplug the MAF, pull the air intake off of the turbo horn. I will probably have to move that boost pipe out of the way, but maybe not. This is kind of like the main thing that's obstructing everything. Technically speaking, I don't have to replace this rubber portion that goes from the heater core to the hard line, but the new part did come with one, so we'll kind of see how that goes. All right, as you can see, here's a new part, �40 part. Everyone is smarter than GM, and you can see they actually used worm clamps, which is cool because way more reliable and incredibly easier to actually remove and replace. Just so much easier. So I am going to go ahead and replace this portion. It goes back to the firewall over there. We'll talk about it. But these are quick disconnects. They have the same kind of style as the fuel lines. Obviously different, but relatively the same process. Pretty sure it's this size. I haven't actually gone ahead and tried it yet, but apparently that's a common leak and break point, so I'm just gonna do that because we have the part, have the worm clamps, so I'm gonna disconnect it, and I'm gonna try to get away with not moving anything else because I'm lazy, but if it proves to be a problem, of course we'll start unbolting more stuff. Alrighty folks, sorry the lighting is bad and the angle is bad. This tripod doesn't go any taller, so I can't really get you a better angle. But you can see this is number one coming from the firewall, but we are going after, oh, I think we are going after number one here. Yeah, we are. Okay. So kind of a pain in the ass because that thing is pretty back there. Cool. Just blowing my brains out. All right, well, that took a little longer than it should have, but that is off now, and a little bit of residual went into the funnel plan. That part of it worked at least. But yeah, it was a 5/8. You just really have to wedge that thing in there. Way stiffer than the fuel lines. So it's good, I guess. Probably wasn't gonna leak. But it's just one of those things. We're in here, let's just do it. Anyways, easier part. Now that that quick disconnect is done, I'm going to unbolt the two brackets for this hard line. There's like one up here and there's one right there that you can see. So gonna unbolt these quickly and then get some hose pliers and just remove this clamp, and this thing should be out. All right, before I throw this away, I figured I would put some water in it and show you guys and confirm my suspicion at the same time. So, see the water and goodbye. All those heat cycles over the years and it being engine mounted, I think just contributed to those, or this weld stressing out and cracking, which, you know, is what it is. I'm just glad that I spotted it and I just replaced the part that should fix it. So, all right, well, shop is an absolute mess and I would like to pull this truck out and clean up all the coolant that it leaked out. But let's make sure everything is good here. I'm gonna start the truck up, I'm gonna top it off, leave this cap off and see how much it sucks up. It looks to me that it dropped, I don't know, like a quart of coolant, probably not, probably a little bit more than that, but not much more than that. So shouldn't need to top it off too much. It was basically just whatever was sitting up in this line. It started leaking basically as soon as I got it back to the shop. As soon as I got an indication, I brought it back. So it wasn't leaking for a long time or anything, losing coolant. As soon as there was a problem, I brought it in here. And then it proceeded to leak it all out. All right, well, let's start this thing up, make sure it doesn't leak. Can't go by smell here on smelling coolant because the whole fucking entire engine bay is coated in it. So I also just spilled some because that's what I do. So I am gonna just leave the fender liner off so we can monitor that, because that's where it was dripping down before. You could basically see exactly where it was dripping, and it kind of was right in front of that bump stop on, like it would go right down the frame rail. So we should see that little wet spot right there is from just now because I'm stupid. Okay, let's give it a go. Okay. Sitting for a minute. Alright, well, it goes into boost. Okay, not bad. I don't hear any weird whistles or boost leaks. I am going to drive this truck until it's fully warmed up so I can confidently drive it home. Make sure that it's not overheating and there's no air pocket. There shouldn't be because I just topped it off, but the cooling system was opened up, so you don't know. I don't know, so far it's not bad. It's running fine. It's hard. It's hard taking a week in between projects, or 2 weeks at that, because it's really easy to just forget a baseline for how something drives, and that's kind of what I've been struggling with this thing. I'm not used to driving it. I've been driving the drift car for like almost 3 weeks, so I almost have to drive something back to back to get a feel for how it should feel. All right, as you can see, ship box is sitting outside. All right, if you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate it. If you take anything away from this video, don't buy a 20-year-old diesel unless you're really ready to do all the work, or just have a crazy checkbook. The truck did well on the test drive, enough for me to be okay with it. I am going to spend probably the remainder of my day in the shop sorting, organizing, packing orders, and cleaning, especially this mess. So stoked about that, of course. So I'm gonna clean up here, and I would like to make some more videos on the truck. There's a lot just a laundry list of things that I would prefer to do to it once it stops being unreliable. I think, or I very much hope so, after this we should be okay for a while, and hopefully we can get back to just enjoying the truck, and I can use it again and tow with it and just do normal truck stuff, and then get back to spending money on some of the more fun stuff again. So we'll see how all that goes. Really gotta pay to play with these diesels, so just know that. I do want to make a video of sorts on my experience, like just point of view ownership on a diesel, in case you're interested in getting one of these trucks. They're popular. They're a good bang for buck truck, but you definitely need to shop smart. And I have some takeaways from this ownership that I would pass along. So I'm thinking about making a video. If that sounds interesting, let me know. Anyways, I've been talking 75% of this video. But with all that said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.